Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. For today's pick a card reading, we have a little bit of a veggie reading, I like to call it, basically something that's very good and nurturing and healthy for your soul. As you can see by the title down below, that topic is, what is your next major soul glow up? So basically this reading, if that's a little bit vague, this will cover where you're at in your spiritual journey, kind of what's the lesson that you're investigating or working through right now. What's the trajectory of that lesson? What's the next step? And then at the very end, we'll have some advice to help you navigate this particular step or aspect of your life to help you get to that soul glow up, okay? So without further ado, let us pick our piles. For pile number 1's over here on the left, we have Thriving. For pile number 2's, we have Flow in the middle. And for pile number 3's over here on the right, we have Wonders. So, just to reiterate, pile number 1's Thriving, pile number 2's Flow, and pile number 3's Wonders. As always, feel free to meditate on these piles, see which one calls to you, tugs on your heartstrings the most. Go with your first inclination is always my suggestion / advice for people. Then when you've decided, drop down to the description box and or the top pinned comment below the video, click on the timestamp for your reading, and I will see you in our discussion about what is your next major soul glow up. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 1's. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of what is your next major soul glow up. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was Thriving. We have the giraffe in front of the tree, and it looks like a savanna, some pink and yellow colors. So as always, we will set your piler off to the left here to begin the reading. And kind of like I described in the intro, there's different sections to this reading, so just a quick summary. Section number 1 will be talking about what spiritual step you're on right now, explaining what's the lesson, what's going on, how is it tangibly related to your life. And then section number 2 will be more of an advice section on how to navigate through this lesson to get to that glow up that's kind of mentioned in the title, right? Or mentioned earlier in the first section. So, okay, so we'll cut these cards into sections. We'll talk about these 3 first. This is more about what's going on, what's the step. And then these are more the advice cards for later. So I'll just set these down here with me. Okay, and then of course I always like to pull the actual tarot cards on camera for you. Let me just adjust in my chair a little bit. Apologies for squeaky chair noises, okay? All right, Spirit, for my lovely pile number 1's, could you give me about 5 different tarot cards explaining more about what's going on? What is this glow up? What's the lesson to be learned? Can you give me 5 cards, please? Thank you. For pile number 1's. Cards given for their best direction, their best... Okay, well, there's one. We had a flyer that time. For their best direction, their best guidance. Okay, well, for sure, that one. That one was quite prominent. 2. Definitely that one. 3. All right. 4. I think that might be the most frisky card I've ever seen on camera before. Okay. My lovely pile number 1. So let's first reveal your oracle cards for this section. Okay, so first up is the Elle Qui. You received She Who Calms, Jenna, Stillness, Purity, Quiet. Okay, kind of a wintry figure with a, is that a barn owl? Looks like a barn owl. It has the white face. Peacock feathers, okay. She Who Calms, Jenna, Stillness, Purity, and Quiet. Interesting. We're going to set her up here next to your pile leader. Okay. Then we have your Lantern Oracle. This is number 11, Metamorphosis. Power and strength lie within our surrender to change. Interesting. See what more pieces of the puzzle reveal as we go through the other cards. Okay, I'll try to make that somewhat even there. And then your Dream Ritual Oracle is Compassion. Lovely. Okay, Compassion. Beautiful, okay. let's see, I have a little bit of a new setup. For those of you who've watched my channel before, you can tell things are a little bit different. So unfortunately, pile number ones, you're always sort of my guinea pigs for the readings. You're the pile that helps me figure out how to set the cards each time. Okay, let's do it about that way. Okay. All right, and of course your tarot cards. First up, we have the moon. Moon is all about illusions. Intuition, sometimes it can mean what is reality, what is not. All right. Number 2, we have the Page of Coins reversed. Okay, Page of Coins reversed is asking for more energy in terms of exploring the material world or the things around us. Okay. Card number 3, the King of Coins, the mastery of the Earth suit. This is external mastery of the material world, kind of like the page before we talked about was related to the material world. This is externally mastering. Typically the way it applies most to our lives is like in business, money, career, finance, things like that. External mastery of the material world. Okay. Number 4, we have the 9 of Coins. Okay, so lots of pentacles or coins today. I get the feeling this lesson for you, pile number ones, is a lot about, or I should say this glow up, is a lot about manifesting things in the material world. Okay. 9 of Coins specifically is about enjoying the fruits of our labor. You can see there's the watermelon patch here, and they're enjoying the watermelon from all the hard work that they have gone through nurturing this thing. Okay, enjoying the fruits of our labor. And then last but not least, we have, okay, so a little bit of fire. We have Wands. This is the Page of Wands reversed. Just like the page earlier was reversed, this is exploring more in the material world. The Wands are, like I said, fire. This is exploring more in terms of willpower and creativity, and sometimes it can even mean confidence, okay? Sometimes Wands are confidence. So I'm actually just going to set that up a little bit here. Okay. So your next major glow up, pile number ones. Let me get my ducks in a row as I look over your message. Your next major glow up. What's the issue at hand? All right, so we have illusions. Exploring more in the material world. Definitely something related, like I said, to business or how you manifest things materially. I think... Intuitively, sorry for the pause there. I was waiting for an intuitive message to come through. Intuitively, what I am being told, pile number ones, is yes, it's related to the way that you manifest things material in this world, or materially, I should say. But the matter at hand is I think you're a little bit too hard on yourself in terms of where you think you should be or how far you think you should have come already, okay? The way this actually manifests in life, I've tended to notice is, I used to struggle with this myself, so I'm speaking from experience. The way this manifests in life is, like, let's say you're someone who is very dedicated to your career or your business or whatever it is that you do to make money in this world, right? You're someone who's very dedicated to being ambitious, maybe a little bit of a career, your focus mostly maybe in your life right now is your career, okay? Especially because of the abundance of pentacles here. That tells me we're dealing with, you are the querent, someone who is focused on the material world, not in a negative way, not in you're shallow and you only care about money. Not at all. But just someone who that is where you derive a lot of your pleasure or your feeling of attainment or confidence from. Okay. And what Spirit is saying here is this next major glow up is all about having more compassion for yourself, hence your dream ritual card here. Having more compassion for yourself in terms of, what's the best way to put it? Pile number ones, I get the feeling intuitively that you're the type of people who you might be a little bit perfectionistic. You might be a little bit feeling like you expect the most out of yourself, okay? You have really high standards for yourself, which is great, okay? It's good to hold yourself to high standards, but the issue comes in accepting that we're human beings, okay? accepting that we have flaws, accepting that we can't be a complete perfect machine robot that, you know, you put you put query in and get answer out, right? Okay. That's not how we function as humans, okay? Sometimes we get tired. Sometimes luck, karma, fate of the universe gets in our way and things just don't work out, okay? And so I'm wondering if recently in your life you've maybe had some sort of issue where something at work didn't work out the way you expected it to, or maybe you thought you'd be farther along than you are. And so I feel like it's almost that you're too hard on yourself in terms of this, because it's like, you know, some people's metric for success might be, depending on what you value, everyone's different. Some people's metric for success might be, you know, I really highly value relationships in my life, and so I'm gonna try to find the love of my life, right? Other people might say, you know, their metric might be, I want to be really attuned to spirit and I want to live my life in a very spiritual way, okay? That's another way to live your life. For you specifically, I think your goalpost to hit is, I want to hit my ambitions. I want to meet my goals in terms of my career. But the flip side of that is, like I said, I think you're too hard on yourself in terms of how far you've come, and you don't pat yourself enough on the back based on how far you've come. I don't know, like I said, maybe recently there's been a setback with your job or career or your business, if you own one, if that happens to apply to you. I don't know if maybe there was a promotion that was denied to you, like someone else got it, or maybe you've been applying for jobs and it just feels like, oh, everybody else gets picked except me, okay? I think that's maybe why you were driven to this card, Thriving. For your pile leader to choose, was because that's what's your focus right now. Pile number ones is, I want to thrive, okay? And I think part of this glow up, excuse more chair noises as I shift myself. Part of this glow up is not just thinking of success in terms of external manifestation, like making a certain salary, having a certain title, things like that. It's in the confidence in how far you've already come. It's in the believing in how far you've already come, okay? Patting yourself on the back more, giving yourself more self-compassion, like your dream ritual card says here, and accepting that, you know, it's almost kind of emblematic of the, I'll pull her out again here, your Elle Qui card here. This is she who, oopsie, there goes my foliage. She who calms, Jenna, stillness, purity, quiet. I think part of this lesson is learning to be more accepting of where you are. Like I said, it's good to have high standards, pile number ones, but in accepting where you are, it can reduce a lot of anxiety over where you think you should be, okay? I think the pro of this is that because you have this mindset, pile number ones, it has been a really, really good engine in your life towards pushing you very far, okay? And Spirit is commending you for that. They're saying, you know, great job with everything you've done. Great job for how far you've come. But then it comes to these anxious thoughts I almost get feeling off of this card. These anxious thoughts of, you know, I need to be farther than I am. Oh, I should have gotten, you know, a replacement job after I got let go from, or left my old job by now. Oh, I should be at this promotion level by now. And so, you know, maybe some of this anxiety even manifests in you taking it to beat yourself up. Like, for example, let's say it was a promotion at work that you got skipped over and someone else got it, okay? Sometimes, all right, you don't get a promotion not because you're not good enough for it, pile number ones. You don't get a promotion because there's some weird cultural, political thing going on at work. Maybe the other person was more advantageous, you know, culturally at the job to take that position. Like some, you know how political maneuvering works in the corporate world. You guys get it. For those of you that work like a 9-to-5 job, you understand how that works, right? You know, or maybe it was something in terms of like some bias on the person that was deciding the final step on, okay, who do we hire for this promotion, right? I'm getting the feeling that whatever it is you've been worrying about in your career Pile number ones, it was out of your control and you need more self-compassion. Okay, so this life lesson, what's the glow up, is moving from this self-blaming hardness on yourself to more appreciating how far you've come. Okay, it's a very material, like earth focused lesson. Okay, it's something very entrenched in your daily life, right? Some spiritual lessons with our souls are more, airy, lofty, studying scripture, or a particular different religions, or more emotional related things like relationships. This for you is very much so about your material world, right? And let's see, where was my train of thought going? Sorry. A bit of a brain fart. But yes, it's just the glow. So to summarize, the glow up for your soul with this particular lesson you're learning is moving from a place of high stress and self-blame to a place of acceptance and more self-love, okay, in terms of your career or how you manifest things in the material world, in the earth element of your life, okay. Two, especially, we didn't talk about this yet, this particular Lantern Oracle card, I'll hold it up in the middle here. Metamorphosis, let me just reiterate, power and strength lie within our surrender to change, okay. When things don't go your way, in terms of your career or how you manifest money, or material success in our world, I'll just put it that way. It doesn't always have to be, it could be fame even too, or notoriety, okay. When things don't go our way, okay, when things change, they're telling me intuitively that one of, what's the best way to put it? Some of the most, sorry, I'm trying to think of how to word it right. Some of the most powerful parts of ourselves are the parts of ourselves that grow and manifest because of the hardships that we've gone through. Does that make sense? So like when it says metamorphosis, power and strength lie within our surrender to change, the metric of your strength and your power is not so much how well you do when things are stable and nice, okay? The metric of your power and strength is how well you do when things are chaotic, okay? The metaphor I'm almost seeing is like a ship that bobs just fine in the harbor. You don't really understand the metal of the construction and the build and the material of that ship until it's actually out in a storm, and how well you can say it's like it stays together. How well does it actually sail a stormy sea, right? And so if you're going through a stormy sea right now, metaphorically speaking, pile number ones, okay, this is also part of your glow up in terms of teaching you some lessons in terms of how to weather times of change, okay, like your metamorphosis card says. Teaching you lessons on how to be strong even when things seem like they're not manifesting materially as logically or as quickly as we think they should be. Okay, does that kind of make sense? Going into your tarot cards again just a little bit more, like I said, okay, the Moon is illusions. The Page of Coins is asking for more exploration in the material world. King of Coins is mastery of the material world. Nine of Coins is enjoying the fruits of our labor, and the Page of Wands reversed is about asking you to explore more in terms of your passions and creativity. Part of this glow up is kind of like I was already saying, the Moon is all about illusions, okay? What's real, what's not? What's good, what isn't? What's light, what's dark is another way to explain that. And so that was the illusion I was talking about before, in terms of a better way to summarize it almost might be rethinking about the way you view success, okay? You might see it as, okay, I've crossed these different stepping stones, but it's not so much about each step in the journey, it's about how far you've come in the journey so far. Does that kind of make sense, pile number ones? Okay. So it's about breaking the illusions of what is success, okay? And by breaking those illusions of what is success, being nicer to yourself, having more self-compassion, patting yourself on the back more for how far you've come, even when setbacks get in your ways, and maybe right now you're kind of on a stormy sea, like I was saying, okay? Yes, so like breaking that illusion of what is actually success to you. That's part of this glow up with the moon, okay? Two, with the Page of Coins reverse being next to it, that's about, like I said, asking for more exploration in the material world, okay? So I'm trying to think of what's really good advice in that area. Especially next to the King of Pentacles. I'll say this too, with the King of Pentacles coming out, this is Spirit already acknowledging that you're very, very good at what you do. So if there's been doubts recently about, you know, oh, well, I've had these setbacks and things are kind of stormy right now, I didn't get that promotion, etc., anxious thoughts, right? Just know that Spirit is already commending you for what you're able to do. You're already very successful, okay? Literally too, with the Nine of Coins being right next to it. Enjoying the fruits of your labor, okay? Literally, like, this is someone who has very good business sense. This is someone who is going to reap what they sowed. Okay. This is someone who is a master in the material world. Okay. So if you have any doubts about your abilities, pile number ones, maybe even that's what you feel has been holding you back, is you don't believe in yourself enough in terms of this area of your life, okay? Believe in your abilities in this area, okay? You have some of the most positive cards in terms of career right now with these two here next to each other, okay? Just, they're saying with the Page of Coins reversed and the Page of Wands reversed, explore more about what really gets you going in terms of what's your passion involved with this career with the Page of Wands reversed, okay? And finding ways to connect that, to explore different ideas or different avenues in your everyday work life or your career, or how you manifest money, you know, whatever you do it is to make money, or manifesting things on the material plane, I guess is maybe a better way to put that, especially with Earth being the element, right? I'm trying to think of a good example of that, because that's a little bit vague. Okay. Exploring more about manifesting your passions. I almost wonder if part of this glow up is maybe even migrating a little bit to a slightly different passion than the one that you're on. Hence all of this asking for more exploring here with two pages reversed. Okay, I could almost see maybe more education too, because the pages can also be associated as apprentice cards, right? I almost wonder if part of this is with education, and it's like you might shift a little bit in terms of your focus in your career. I'm not seeing like a major career switch, although that is possible. It's just something like, it's like either you're currently getting more education, or part of this glow up is it's like moving your career to a little bit something more like heart guided, okay? And that's part of the switch from thinking of things of success in terms of, okay, this is how much money you might make, here's my title, to it could even be switching your idea of success towards, okay, what kind of people do I impact? How do I impact them? You know, what am I leaving behind that's making the Earth better by the time I leave this planet, right? Maybe that's even why compassion came out, okay? Maybe it's a more compassion aligned goal with your career. And so the metric is not so much, like I said, how much money do I make? What am I able to buy? What's my title, my fancy, you know, things like that, you know, more material focused to more compassion and heart focused. What gets me out of bed in the morning? What helps people? Okay. And if there's even a question of, well, how could I even possibly, you know, make as much money as I did if I do shift my career? Like I said, these two right here are very positive cards in terms of if you are considering a career switch. I mean, that's pretty much a nice go ahead. So yeah, there's some, to summarize, your glow up pile number ones is being able to weather change in terms of your career or how you materially manifest things, right? Redefining your idea of success, what actually is success and what isn't, especially with the illusions with the moon right there, and exploring more about, you know, what makes you passionate, more exploring different ideas in your career that will help you shift this idea of success to something different than maybe you've viewed success before. And by doing that, it will bring you a lot more peace and calm with Jenna here, like she who calms, right? Okay, it'll make your soul a little bit tougher about weathering times of change, and also having more self-love and self-compassion for yourself, okay? All right, so let's get to the advice section. We're going to clear the board here. What's your advice in this area? Okay, I do have some cards I already pulled, like I said in the earlier part. Let's shuffle, shuffle. Lovely. Yeah, I wonder if maybe part of this is more, it's either like a career more aligned with your actual, like maybe creative passions, or something more humanity focused, or it's like something more, it's more close to your heart, okay? Yeah, something a little bit more compassion focused, like I said. Okay. Spirit, for my lovely pile number ones, could you give me 5 cards explaining advice on how to get to this glow up for my pile number ones, please? 5 cards, please. What's your advice? How do they become more aligned with this? Some guideposts for them. Okay, definitely that one. 2. I'm gonna feel that one. 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Okay. So first up, we have 2 from the Pastoral Tarot. Okay, so the first one is, you got another page. Okay, Page of Wands. In fact, it was the same one you had before. Okay, except this time it's upright, right? This deck is, there's no reversals really. Okay, so you had the Page of Wands reversed earlier, and now you have it upright, which basically means part of your advice is switching the reluctance to explore your passions into, I'm going to fully explore my passions now, okay? I'm going to come off the beaten path here, and I'm going to go hike off this way. I'm going to take a little bit of a U-turn, or a little bit of a perpendicular turn from where I was going. Explore, okay? Oopsie, I'm going to just set those there. Your second Pastoral Tarot is the 6 of Cups. Childhood, okay? Pile number ones. If there's something you used to do in your childhood that you don't do anymore, something that maybe you dreamed about doing when you were a kid, that you gave up on that dream, consider returning to that dream, okay? That's the childhood card right there. Then we have your Surrender card. Surrender your need to always be right. Give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships, okay? Interesting. We'll see what else pops out with your tarot cards. We have the Sun reversed, okay? Maybe could be negativity. Sometimes that means lack of happiness or joy. Oopsie. The Devil reversed, breaking our chains. The 5 of Wands reversed, letting go of ego, letting go of conflicts. Okay, that might be surrender your need to always be right. Okay, the Hierophant reversed, letting go of traditions. Like I said, get away from the beaten path and go somewhere new. Okay, bucking tradition. And last but not least, we have the 5 of Cups, which is grief. Okay, pile number ones, your advice in this area is pretty straightforward, so this section will be pretty short. Number 1, the Hierophant reversed with the Page of Wands. Go off the beaten path. Do something new, okay? That could mean literally changing your career, or it could literally mean something more along the lines of go off the beaten path in terms of how you view success, okay? That type of thing. Follow what makes you happy with the Sun reversed, okay? Like I said earlier, what gets you up in the morning? What are you passionate about, especially in terms of relating it to your childhood with the 6 of Cups? Is there a childhood dream that you had that you let go of because you thought you were not good enough for it? Okay, ask yourself that question, okay? Break your chains. Think about areas of your career or your life where, you're manifesting things materially, like your career, like I said, that hold you back. What stifles you? What makes you feel dead inside, especially with the Sun reverse right next to it, okay? Okay. And then the 5 of Cups, okay? This card, I'm going to talk about the 5 of Wands here in a second because it's with your Surrender card, okay? The 5 of Cups is about grief, sadness, and sorrow. Well, actually, I think it might be connected to the 5 of Wands and the surrender you need to always be right. Okay. So off the bat, right off the tin, this card looks scary because it basically is saying surrender your need to always be right. And then the 5 of Wands reversed is let go of ego and conflict, okay? Pile number ones, I think for you more specifically, I don't see it as that you're combative with other people. I think it's that you're combative with yourself, okay? I think maybe one of the reasons why you haven't already made this switch in your life is because you feel like you'd be betraying your earlier self, or it's almost hard to admit that we've been wrong with the path we've been taking so far, okay? It's almost a sunk cost fallacy. Look that up if you're not familiar with what that is, okay? So it's like you put your need to be right about, like, okay, well, I've been on this path, you know, there's no way I was wrong about going down this path, even though there's something else calling to you, okay? So consider where your ego might be playing into whether or not you decide to move to somewhere off the beaten path, okay? And then kind of related to that is the Five of Cups, because there's almost a sorrow or a grief of loss of, okay, well, will I be grieving the loss of what I've given up to go onto the path that I might be drawn to now, okay? And the answer is, I think you'll be very successful if you do decide to go off the beaten path, pile number ones. I just know there's some reluctance there because it's almost like admitting we were wrong based on the path we've been going on so far, okay? Because a lot of deciding to go in a different direction is admitting that we were going in the wrong direction in the first place. That's kind of how I'll summarize that to you. So pile number ones, as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Just know that you'll have success if you do decide to go off the beaten path and redefine your idea of success, okay? And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile number twos. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of what is your next major soul glow up. As you recall, the card you used to pick your pile today was Flow. We have a river lit by the moon, flowing past the banks, going with the flow, shall we say. So I'm going to set your pile leader off to the left as always. And this reading will be in two different sections, just really quick. Section number one will talk about what's the context of the glow up, what's the lesson to be learned, kind of what's going on in your life that tangibly is related to this lesson. And then section number two will be advice on how to kind of move towards this glow up, okay? What are the steps to take to get there? So let's split the cards now. We will talk about these ones later. These are the advice cards. And these oracle cards are about the first section. And then, of course, I will pull the tarot cards on screen. I always like to do that. So I'm going to shift in my chair here. For my lovely pile number two, Spirit, could you give me 5 cards explaining more about the context of this glow up for their soul? What's going on? What's the lesson to be learned? 5 cards, please. All right, I already see one, I think. It's poking up. Definitely that one, right? Okay, 1, 2. Okay, 3, 4. And what's calling? I feel like this one right here, 5. Okay, my lovely pile number twos. As always, we'll reveal the oracle cards first. So we have the Elle Qui Oracle. You received Sauvage, she who is wild, untamed, wild, mysterious. Interesting. I'm already getting a little bit of an intuitive message, but I'll hold on that for a second. Fascinating. Okay. Then we have your Lantern Oracle. You received, okay, we've got a woman tied to a wheel. Wishful expectations, number 14. Acknowledge the smoke and mirrors in your life for what they are. Wishful expectations. Okay. Interesting. Oh boy, okay. We'll expand on that in uno momento. And then your Dream Ritual Oracle, you received Ponder, thinking over things. Fascinating. Okay. This might be one of the most unique readings I've ever had come up. Okay, and then we'll look at your tarot cards to get the full story here before I say too much about the message. Tarot card number 1, you received the Page of Swords, the exploratory element of air, which is communication, logic, rationality, how we speak. Exploring the mind more. Okay, interesting. Exploring our mind more. Number 2, we have the 5 of Swords, another air element card. 5 of Swords reversed. Usually is about there was some sort of mental battle. Okay. Reversed, it's overcoming the battle or learning the lessons afterwards. Some sort of struggle. Okay. Interesting. A shift on the way we think about things. Number 3, we have the Hermit reversed, coming out of our shell. Okay. Number 4, we have the Page of Coins, another page. All right, this is the exploratory element of the material world: earth, money, material success, career. Interesting. And last but not least, we have another coins, Ace of Coins reversed, feeling like there's a lack of opportunity in the material world. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, I think I'm getting the picture here. Pile number 2s. Let's just make sure before I say anything, though, I'm going to look over, take a drink, make sure I've got the message going, reach back for my parched throat. Okay, what's the glow up here, pile number 2s? Okay, right off the bat, there's something about the dichotomy between going with the flow of things, hence your pile leader, and Sauvage kind of leans into that because she's wild, she's mysterious, right? I believe that is the French word for wild is Sauvage, right? Apologies to my French viewers if I did butcher that pronunciation. I think it's Sauvage, right? Something about going with the flow, and then the dichotomy of that versus how much do I actually control in my life, okay? That's kind of how I'm feeling intuitively about this reading, okay? And a mental shift regarding this, okay? How much do I actually control? How much does the universe control? Especially because of this card over here, wishful expectations, right? She is chained to a wheel, and oftentimes in symbolism with tarot and oracle decks, the wheel is usually like the Wheel of Fortune, if you're familiar with that card in tarot. That symbolism is usually about what's the actual wheel of the universe, what's fate, what's karma, what goes up must come down, and vice versa, right? And so it's almost like this figure is chained to what she thinks either fate owes her, or chained to what she thinks fate will just deal out for her, and that she has no control. She's chained to it. She's being just kind of strung along. Okay. And even too, in Sauvage here, I'll pull her up a little bit closer on camera. Okay. She is, yes, she's dancing, she's wild, she's mysterious, she's got incense burners that are kind of going around, right? But she does have chains around her as well, okay? So there's a lot about what do I have the freedom to decide? What do I have the freedom to choose? And what do I not have the freedom to choose, okay? That's the context underlying the lesson, okay? And so pile number 2s, I'm feeling like the lesson here that needs to be overcome, or will be overcome, let's say, because this is like a predictory reading. The lesson that will be overcome for this glow up is defining to yourself, am I just a victim of fate? Or do I have more free will and control than I think I do? Okay, specifically in the areas of your expectations, okay? Because with wishful expectations over here, the message itself is kind of what it says on the tin. Wishing for things, okay? Acknowledging the smoke and mirrors in your life for what they are, okay? That's getting rid of the illusion that is almost kind of influencing your mind, because this is a very mind-focused reading. Pile number 1s are very material, earth-focused. Pile number 2 is you're very mind, air-focused, okay? So I guess another way to explain this pile number 2 is I feel like if I were to actually put a pin in it, okay, if I had to pin it down, what is the mental state you're in right now, is I would almost feel like, excuse me, ooh, wrong bite. I would almost feel like, what's the best way to put it? I especially focus on the Ace of Coins over here reversed, okay? That's feeling like I lack an opportunity in the world, okay? Same thing, Hermit reversed is like coming out of your shell more, okay? I think it's that you think that fate has more control than it does. If I were to put a pin in this reading for most of you, okay, I think it's almost like there are things that you want in life. There are things that you expect in life. But what happens is those things don't come and you feel like it's completely out of your hands, okay? Like, I have no control. I have no freedom over this. I can't do anything to change it. And so I almost come to the feeling of the feeling I get intuitively off of you, pile number 2, is almost a feeling of constriction. I'm surprised you didn't get the Devil card, because the Devil card in tarot is often about the things that bind and chain us, okay? And I think in this aspect, pile 2 is you are bound and limited by not only feeling like you're chained by fate, but in believing that there's nothing better for you, okay? You believe that the universe just has a bad plan for you, and that's just what it's going to be, and nothing is ever going to come your way. It's almost pessimistic thinking, and I'm not saying that in an accusatory, like, well, you need to be more optimistic, you need to view the glass half full. I mean it more in the way of, it's like, what's the best way to put it? It's the reason my spirit is saying this is because it's disempowering to you, okay? When we think of the universe as someone holding a whip and lashing at us, okay? Someone chaining us, okay? Someone guiding our direction in life completely. It's disempowering because what it does is it makes us feel like a victim of fate. That's kind of what I get off of the wishful expectations. She feels like she's a victim of fate. She's literally chained to the wheel of fate, okay? And so sometimes it might even manifest not just in ways of feeling like you lack opportunities, that the universe is just out to screw you over. I mean, because sometimes it does feel that way. 100% get that, pile number 2. It's like, that's very common thinking, because, you know, bad things happen and we think, well, why me, right? Yeah, it's just, I mean, intuitively, I'm just getting this message of, I feel like I lack opportunities. I feel like fate is against me. I feel like nothing ever goes my way, okay? I'm chained. I'm stuck. And it's this mental shift. The glow up is a mental shift from thinking yourself as a victim of fate to someone who is empowered, okay? Someone who is empowered to say, okay, this is where we're going to take the ship now. Okay, you go from being, you know, what do they call the people that's swab the deck? A swabber, is that what they call it? Correct me if I'm wrong. The person that cleans the deck of the ship to the person that's actually the captain that's steering it, right? Okay, I'm taking the wheel into my own hands, and I'm gonna direct my own fate here. And it's not in terms of, like, I don't mean to say this as in, like, oh, it's your fault that you didn't reach for more and that's why the universe has been screwing you over, okay? It's not that. It's just that it's easier to get through life if we think about in terms of what we can do versus what we can't do, okay? Instead of, like, whenever you come across things where you feel like you won't succeed, so you don't even try, think of it in terms of, instead of I can't or I'm going to suck, okay? Sometimes, because that's, you know, that's another thing that can stop us, is sometimes we think we're just not good enough, okay? Every time that comes up, think of it more in terms of I can't to, well, maybe I won't, but I'll try, okay? Believing in yourself more, believing that you have the power to change fate. I wonder if it's almost kind of made you give up a little bit some areas of your life, especially with the Hermit reversed, because that card is asking for coming out of your shell more. I almost wonder, you know, in terms of romance, maybe you've given up. In terms of your career, especially with the abundance of pentacles here, maybe you feel like you've kind of given up on ever getting a job that's better or a career that's better, okay? Things like that. So it's like you just don't even, what I'm being told is like you don't even believe in chance anymore, is what it feels like, okay? And so being stuck in this mindset is chaining you, okay? And you're being asked to think about things in a little bit of a different way more, especially with ponder, okay? Not going through the motions of, well, this is just what life is and I just have to deal with it. And more in terms of, well, what could be? what could be. And leaning away from self-sabotage, okay? Leaning away from feeling like I'm just a victim of fate, all right? And I feel like, very sympathetically, pile number 2 is I feel like life has beaten you down a lot, and that's maybe why, especially because of the 5 of Swords reversed here. Life has beaten you down a lot, and that's why you don't even hope anymore, okay? That's the feeling I'm getting out of this, all right? And one thing that when I was going to therapy, I'm just going to give a therapeutic lesson here, okay? One of the things that I learned when I was going to therapy when I was younger was oftentimes our brain gets trained to associate things with pain, okay? For example, very, very base level, when you're a child and you touch a hot stove, you learn, okay, well, I'm never going to touch that again, okay? Because that hurts. And, it's actually a survival instinct on our brain. Because if we didn't learn, ouch, that hurts, we might touch something and burn our hand off, okay, or burn our flesh, let's just say, right? But what happens is that our brain, what's the word, maybe extrapolates is a good word. Our brain adjusts this not for just simple, I touch, ow, okay, I'm not going to touch that thing that makes go ow again, right? But more complex things like, let's say it's in terms of romance. I've been rejected a lot. And so, ow, that hurts. I'm not even going to try again to protect myself. Or, I tried that business venture once and it didn't work out. Ouch, that hurts. I'm never going to try that again. That type of thinking, okay? And so what happens is excuse me while I adjust in my chair, my foot's falling asleep. What happens is that we train our brain to think to not even try because we think to ourselves, well, it's just going to give us more pain because my experience so far has been pain, okay? One self-help book I read once even described it as, it was a metaphor with a berry bush, right? It's almost like looking out of, okay, we're going to go back to cavemen times, right? You're in your cave and you're looking out and you see this berry bush, okay? And let's say every single time you've gone to that berry bush in the past, you got hit with thorns or there was a predator, like let's say a lion hiding behind it, right? Or a tiger or whatever. And so you learned, I don't know, every time I go to a berry bush, it's pretty dang scary. Those berries sound really dang good. And I would like to feed myself because I'm a cave person and I'm probably not, I don't have an abundance of food. I haven't invented agriculture yet, right? But every time I've gone to a berry bush, ouch, right? Or I almost lost my life with the predator, like let's say if it was a lion or a tiger hiding behind it. And so the problem is that you always miss out on the berries because you always believe there's a predator or a thorn nearby. And so you're living life completely driven by fear and not driven by what could be. Okay? Well, I mean, you are living life by what could be, but in a pessimistic way of, well, what could be is I'm going to get my hand bitten off or I'm going to get pricked by a thorn, okay? And that's the thing in life is that it's really difficult to retrain our brains, and this is part of like what I learned in therapy personally. It's really difficult to retrain our brains to bypass that early programming of rejection or pain or abandonment, insert issue here, to be able to hope for better in the future, okay? Because here's the thing. If you never, ever, ever try to reach for that berry, you're never going to get a berry, okay? Yes, you might get hurt, pile number 2s. Yes, there might be a predator. Yes, there might be a thorn, okay? But the only 100% success guarantee of never getting a berry is never reaching for one and going beyond the cave, kind of has the hermit coming out of our shell, right? Okay, so it's a mental shift of going from, I am a victim of fate. Nothing good ever happens to me. Every time I try, it's just been pain or it didn't work out. Self-defeatism almost. To going with the flow of life, accepting that there's ups and downs, okay? Being willing to, and especially with Sauvage here, right? Oopsie, my foliage is getting caught on her. Especially with Sauvage here, right? Believing in the wild, believing in the mysterious, okay? Believing in the ability of life to change, okay? Believing in things not always being the same, believing in different chances, believing in different outcomes, okay? Someone who is, breaking the chains of the self-defeating mindset and saying, let's try and see what happens, okay? Let's get a little wild. Let's break out of our shell more. Maybe even, of course, we're not on the advice section yet, pile number 2 is, but maybe even a good piece of advice is to break out of your shell more in terms of, trying new things, okay? Maybe even dance would be a good idea. Maybe that's kind of what's coming out here intuitively as I'm reading these cards for you. Trying something with dance. Trying different ways of expressing ourselves, okay? Just exercises and things that make us gain more confidence in ourselves. Something that's new and different that we haven't tried before. And that's the thing, is that you can almost kind of retrain your brain, I think, by trying these new things, or even trying old things that didn't work out the first time, and realizing that, yes, every time you roll the dice, there's always a chance for good. There's always a chance for bad, but if you never roll the dice, you'll never get the good, okay? So come out of your shell, try different things, believe and hope in positive outcomes in the universe. That's where these, sword cards come in. Pile number 2 is a mental shift. Okay. Exploring more with that Page of Swords in terms of the mind. And then I think you might even see more opportunities come forward, because I think before you've had your blinders on, so to speak, and so you didn't see the opportunities. Okay. In terms of romance, like let's say, you were looking for a partner, but you always believed, oh, no one will ever want to be with me. Or it'll never work out, what do I even try, okay? And there might have actually been opportunities for romance that you missed out on because you just weren't open to seeing it, okay? You didn't believe it could happen, and so it didn't. All right? That's one example, okay? Yeah, we'll leave with the romance example, but it could also be something in terms of career here. You have a lot of pentacles over here, so. Yes, so shifting that mindset from I'm a victim of fate to I have control and I'm going to keep trying, okay? Yes, the universe might punch me in the face and I might get stuck down in the mud, but I'm going to pull myself back up from the mud so that I don't remain in the mud, okay? That type of shift, okay? So let's go to the advice section of your reading. Let's talk about more about how to get this glow up, how to believe in ourselves and the universe, and believe in beauty and opportunities and good outcomes. How do we believe in fairy tales again, okay? Positive fairy tales, I mean, in terms of there is happy endings. Oopsie. Yep, and like I said, Spirit's never saying this in terms of a shame on you, you should be more positive type thing. It's more just they want you to believe in the good of the universe more, pile number 2s, so that when good comes along, you can recognize it, okay? Or that you're willing to reach out for it. You're willing to go grab for that berry, right? Okay, so we have these cards here. Spirit, for my lovely pile number 2s, could you give me 5 cards of advice on this soul glow up for them? What do you suggest that they do to change this mindset? Okay, let's see what's popping here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, my lovely 2s. Yes. I'm going to shift to my chair again. All right, let's look at your oracle. Well, some of them are actually tarot cards. Pastoral Tarot. Your first one is the 10 of Pentacles, okay? This is the card of material success. This is the card of, it's kind of one of the most positive, happy cards you can get in the entire tarot deck. Okay, legacy, inheritance, happy family, happy success. Abundance is another good word for the 10 of Pentacles, okay? Believing. Okay, believing in good outcomes. Number 2, the 9 of Wands, perseverance, okay? That's kind of what I was talking about, pile number 2s, okay? Yes, I completely understand if every time you reach for this metaphorical berry bush, you got bit. And so you're really reluctant to keep trying, okay? But this is literally the card of keep trying, okay? This is, I'm battered, I'm bruised, it's winter, times are rough, but like this deer, I'm going to keep searching around for things to eat, even if it feels like I might not ever find anything, because it's better than lying down and starving. Okay, metaphorically speaking. Perseverance. Keep reaching for your goals, because happily ever after does exist. Okay. Then your surrender card, we have surrender your fear of intimacy. You are ready to let love in, compassionately identify and begin to release any patterns that stop you from opening your heart. Okay, so pile number 2 is, I think for most of you, this is related to relationships. This is likely either I've had poor relationships in the past, or I've been rejected romantically a lot. It could be that you've been in a lot of relationships that didn't work out, or maybe you've been too scared to put yourself out there more, to try dating again, or maybe even in some of the relationships you've had some struggles actually being more vulnerable because of your pain. People don't build walls unless they think that there's some sort of spear that might come from the other side. Okay, we don't build walls unless there's a fear. Okay, that's what a wall is literally a manifestation of fear. Okay, is I need to protect something because this has been hurt before. And so for most of you, I think this manifests in relationships and intimacy. Okay, believing in intimacy, believing in good relationships. They do exist and good people are out there. Okay. I know it's hard because every time you reach for maybe that metaphorical berry bush, ouch. But not every berry bush has a shadow behind it, or a predator, well, a thorn, I guess I should say. Okay. Tarot card number 1, the 8 of Swords. I'm trapped. Okay. Literally mentally, I'm mentally trapped. Breaking your mental traps, that's what we were talking about, shifting from I'm a victim of fate and nothing ever good happens to, okay, let's try again. Okay, 7 of Coins. The 7 of Coins, let's see, is all about planting the seeds for the future, okay? Sometimes it can mean being hard at work, okay? Keep working, keep trying at it. I know it's hard, and I know it's hard to come to a tarot reading hoping for the universe just to say, yep, it's coming to you. And, I mean, this reading is saying it's coming to you. It's just that it's saying you have to keep working at it and keep trying to reach out for those berries, okay? Number 3, we have the 4 of Cups reversed. Okay, letting go of apathy, letting go of pessimism, believing in optimism, believing that there's good outcomes. Okay. We have the 8 of Cups reversed. Okay, usually the 8 of Cups is about emotionally moving on from something. Reversed, it's about being kind of stuck emotionally somewhere. So reversed, it's almost asking for you to consider emotionally moving on from certain things. Okay. Maybe that's part of why it's been so hard for you to believe in the good again, is because you've been focusing so much on the ouchies from the past. Okay. And a lot of healing is deciding to take a step away from what hurts us. Okay. And then last but not least, we have the 6 of Cups reversed. Yes. Usually upright, the 6 of Cups is about childhood, innocence, optimism, believing in the future as children do. Okay. Reversed, it's maybe sometimes feeling jaded. I'm not believing in magic anymore because, like children do. All right. I almost wonder if some of you had to grow up too fast. All right, so pile number 2 is what's going on here in terms of advice. We already kind of talked about it as I went through the cards, but I'll just reiterate here. Okay. Believing that happily ever after exists, especially in terms of the material world with the 10 of Pentacles, okay? Being determined to keep trying with the 9 of Wands, even when times are rough, okay? Even when we feel battered and bruised, grabbing our shield and our sword and deciding I'm still going to fight, because it's better than lying down and never receiving anything. It's better than no berries, right? Okay. Especially in terms of relationships, surrender your fear of intimacy. As hard as it is to emotionally move on with that 8 of Cups reversed from bad relationships, or maybe, lots of rejection. Maybe you just haven't had a lot of romance in your life because you feel like you always get rejected, right? That's another way this can manifest, not just in terms of bad relationships, but a lack of relationships, right? Being willing to believe that there is love out there for you. There is a good partner. There is a good relationship, okay? As much as it hurts to keep trying, keeping trying hurts way less than never trying at all and being guaranteed that you'll never find that, okay? All right, letting go of our mental traps with the 8 of Swords, okay? That's what we're talking about, that mental shift of victim of fate to I'm the captain of my ship and I'm going to steer it this way. Yes, sometimes things are out of our control. But this reading is telling you that there's more that could be in your control that's not, that you're not taking advantage of. Pile number 2 is okay. breaking that mindset of I'm trapped with the Eight of Swords, okay? Keeping planting seeds for the future with the Seven of Pentacles, okay? Keep trying. And I've said that I know a million times in this reading, but keep planting seeds for the future, letting go of apathy, believing in optimism again, especially with the Six of Cups reversed. It's almost like believing in life and seeing life more like how you did as a child, more optimistically, okay? Things like that. Yep, and then just working on emotionally moving on from previous hurts. I don't know, maybe even therapy could help. Maybe if you're already in therapy, maybe discussing, maybe focusing on this type of lesson, that type of thing. But yes, believing that there are berries out there and not every berry bush has pain behind it, okay? With our metaphor we were talking about, okay? So pile number 2 is, as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. Believe in the good of the universe. Believe that you do have power to change your fate, okay? And I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, okay? Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card reading on the topic of what is your next major glow up. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was the card of wonders. We have almost kind of a space nebula, it looks like, with a quartz crystal in between. Beautiful card. I always like those kind of spacey cosmic vibe ones. So we'll set your pile leader over here to the left to help guide the reading as we go through. Now, this reading, just really quick, will be in 2 different sections. Section number 1 will talk about what's the context of this glow up, what's the spiritual lesson to be learned, what it is maybe you're tangibly going through right now, and then section number 2 will be more about advice on navigating this lesson on the way to the soul glow up, as we called it in the title, right? So I'm going to split the cards now as they are for these 2 different sections. We'll talk about these first. These will be more in the advice part, so we'll set those down here with me. And of course, I always like to pull the actual tarot cards on camera. So pile number 3 is Spirit. Can you give me 5 cards explaining more what's the context of this life lesson, this soul glow up we're talking about here? 5 cards for pile 3s and their best interests. Okay, well, there's 1. And their best interests for spiritual growth. Okay, so there's 1. Definitely 2. And that one kind of came out with it 3. Let's see, 4, and I think that one right there, 5. Okay, I'm going to sit up higher in my chair because I'm a short little lady. Okay. There we go. Let's reveal the oracle cards first. So we have Elle Qui, she who grants wishes, Alice, wish, desires, hope. Okay. Set that one up here. Next, we have the Lantern Oracle. You received the Strength of Vulnerability, number 4. True power lies at the root of perceived weakness. Okay, and the example I always like to use with this card is, reflect on your favorite movie or book, right? Your favorite story. Oftentimes, the greatest strength of the hero was what they perceived as a weakness at the beginning. Okay, I always like to use that example with this card, but we'll talk about that more further in tandem with the other cards in a second. Gorgeous card. And then we have the Dream Ritual Oracle. You received Inspire. Okay, we have a piano playing music with a music clef here. Or staff, I should say, technically. That's a treble clef right there, right? Beautiful. Inspire, inspiration, dreams, wishes, hope. Interesting. I'm getting something, but I'm not going to comment on it just yet. I think there's something that you could explore more in terms of a dream or creativity of yours, but let's get your tarot cards on the desk before I say anything conclusive. So, card number 1, we have the Chariot reversed, feeling like life is outside of our control, chaos. I don't feel like I have the reins. Where is this vehicle going? Card number 2, the 5 of Cups reversed, recovering from a grief or a sorrow. Okay. Card number 3, we have the 2 of Swords reversed. Indecision, where do I go? What choice do I make? What avenue do I take? Card number 4, we have the 4 of Wands, celebration. Sometimes this can mean marriage. This specific card looks like a marriage to me, or a couple at least. Okay. Celebration, marriage, happy at home. Okay. And last but not least, we have the High Priestess reversed, needing to listen to our intuition more. Okay, I'm hearing something about mundanity. Being entrenched in the mundane. Interesting. Let me get my ducks in a row here, pile number 3s. I'm going to take a drink while I'm getting the message together here from what came out. Excuse my loud sip. Okay. Inspire mundanity. And then we have the Chariot, out of my control. Pile number 3 is, what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to ask you a question to ask yourself, and I want you to answer it honestly in your own time here. Okay. And follow your initial gut instinct when I ask this, okay? So ask yourself, sit there, ask yourself as you watch this video, listen to this video. Deep, deep down, if I were to ask myself what I really want in life, what would it be? Okay, and whatever your answer was, that's going to provide the context for this reading for you, okay? What do I deep, deep down really want? Okay. And on top of that, I'm going to say, ask yourself, what am I ashamed of wanting? What do I think I'm not good enough to receive? And that's kind of what's guiding this reading for you, pile number 3s. What do I want? What am I ashamed to want? What do I think I'm not good enough to receive? Okay. And the reason I say that is because, not only do we have the anchor here of the Two of Swords reversed, indecision, we also have the High Priestess, which is, I'm not listening to myself enough. That's what that card says. Listen to yourself more, okay? We also have cards entailing what does happily ever after look like for us for the Four of Wands? What makes us celebrate? Alice, dreams, wishes, hope, desires. What do we really want deep down? Okay? Believing in wonders here too with your pile leader you chose. Okay? What's magical to me? What would break the mundanity of my life? What would change the mundane into the magical? Okay. And I think for most of you, I'm pretty sure. Now your tarot cards are not from any particular, there's not an abundance of cards from one particular suit. You have cups, you have swords, you have wands, okay? But I think for most of you, it's something to do with a creative passion of yours, okay? Because you did get inspire here. Okay. Of course we have a music staff here. Yes, music staff, right? I should know this. I was in choir for like 10 plus years. Yes, I'm a little rusty though. Okay. Music staff here. Because for some of you, it could be something musically related. Okay. But just creativity in general. What inspires you? Okay. And, I think, I don't know if you've just let go of some of your hobbies recently, pile number 3s. I don't know if there's some sort of passion of yours that you neglected in terms of a career that just paid the bills or something. But whatever it is, it almost feels like your life is not even in your own control, especially with the Chariot reversed here. That's feeling like I don't have the reins and I'm not steering the ship, okay? I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what life is taking me to. I'm just going with the flow, okay? I'm just going where the bills are going to get paid, okay? But the thing is that brings, I think in the past, that has maybe brought you some sorrow. And I think, but now you're finally at a point where you could make this choice if you wanted to, between your passion and what just pays the bills, okay? And it could even be in terms of not necessarily like a career change. It could be a career change for you, pile number 3s, okay? I'm not saying it couldn't be, but almost like I think you need to invest more time in your creative passions. So even if it's not a career change of like, let's say, you're really STEM oriented, I'm an engineer, or I do mathematics and I do these very logical, rational type jobs, or this is my job right here. I'm not saying it's like a shift from being an engineer to say an artist. It could be. But it could also be that maybe you've been so focused on work that you haven't made time for yourself in terms of exploring what's the actual expression of your soul. Okay. And that's what I always think of creativity is this expression of the soul, right? I almost believe that I get a feeling off of this reading for you, pile threes, is that you almost feel machine-like to me. And I'm not saying that in like a derogatory way, but you almost feel like a machine to me in terms of going through the motions of, I need to create product, aka money. Okay. um, to get by. That is my purpose. And it's almost like you've lost sight of your purpose a little bit. You've lost sight of what sparks your passions here, okay? But I think you're finally at a point where if you wanted to, and I think maybe you're being encouraged to, pile number threes, in terms of this glow up, right? Soul glow up, is to consider that choice, okay? Indecision. Do I go forward with maybe a creative passion now instead of this career? Maybe I change to a more creative, passion-oriented career, or, maybe I decide to sacrifice some of my career time more into time for rest, time for creativity. Like, for example, maybe you find yourself working overtime a lot when you don't have to. Maybe even some of you work from home, and that's someone who has worked from home in the past for a 9-to-5 job. Yeah, sometimes it's really hard to put that laptop down and actually take time for ourselves. We just think one more email, okay? One more email, one more project, one more thing to get. And yes, that's great for our career. And of course, we want to be responsible people. We want to be good employees. But the issue is then we sacrifice more time for ourselves, for our families, okay? For our relationships, if you're in a romantic relationship, okay? It also sacrifices our mental health. Working too hard can make you a lot stressed and anxious, sometimes even depressed, okay? And so Spirit is encouraging you to follow where you can recover from whatever is making you sad with the Five of Cups reversed, okay? And follow something more that's more attuned with who you are deep down. Remember that question I told you to ask yourself earlier, pile number threes, okay? Your initial gut instinct. Following that more, okay? Following what celebration and happy home looks like to you, instead of feeling like I need to be entrenched in what I'm doing now, like in terms of career or in terms of this thing that makes me sad and isn't really fulfilling me, and moving more towards what creates a spark in you, I guess, okay? So invest more time in your hobbies, pile number threes, okay? Invest more time in who you are as a person. What is the expression of your soul, okay? Think about the lifelong dreams you've had that you put on the back burner for whatever it is you've been focusing on most, okay? That's another good question to ask yourself. What have I been putting on the back burner that I still really want deep down, okay? Because life isn't just a slew of grinding yourself to your bones to dust, okay? Life should also be partially enjoyed. Life isn't, yes, of course we have to work. Of course we have to struggle sometimes. Of course we have to do things that we don't want to do. That's just being an adult. But part of life is also enjoying what makes our soul sing, I guess is another way to put that, okay? So invest more time in the things that make your soul sing deep down. That too, with strength and vulnerability here, that's a fascinating card. It's like it says, true power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. And I used earlier when I pulled it out, remember that example of, okay, oftentimes, think of your favorite story. Oftentimes, what a hero thinks is their weakness at the beginning of a story is actually also their strength, right? Okay. And so thinking in terms of what's a good example? Intuitively, I'm almost being told it's like you feel guilty taking time for yourself, pile number threes. Okay, you think it's a weakness to want to take time for yourself. It's like you think it's a weakness to indulge more in your dreams and your hopes and your hobbies, because you feel like, well, if I do that, then I'm just sacrificing, or even it could even be self-care. It might not just even be hobbies. It could be you feel like it's a weakness to want to take care of yourself or to take more time for yourself, because you're thinking, well, all that time I could be investing in, say a career, for example, that doesn't make me money to take a day off and take a nice bath or go get a massage or, eat some ice cream or something, you know what I mean? Whatever makes your soul sing, right? The thing that makes you happy. And so, but we gain more strength in learning to admit when we need time off. We gain more strength in learning to admit, what's the best way to put it? I guess to summarize pile number 3 is if you're ever feeling guilty for taking time off or indulging more in your hobbies than in hard work. I mean, it could even be, especially too with the 4 of Wands here being the card of home. Maybe it's even like, I don't know if you've had a lot of house projects lately, like, I don't know, repainting rooms or remodeling or something. You know, and so you're thinking to yourself, like, well, on the weekends I should work on that instead of actually indulging in my hobbies and things that make my soul sing, right? Like we were saying before the thing mentioned. It's like you just, I don't know, and maybe you have a hard time even just like not working. Maybe you have a hard time just sitting down. That's just, you're kind of a workaholic, I guess, is how to summarize pile number 3 is what I'm getting from you, okay? But it's okay to walk away from the computer sometimes. It's okay to walk away from, you know, even in terms of being connected to the world. It's okay to say, hey, world, you know, all that news is great, but, you know, I don't need to hear about war and sadness and economic issues. I want to be happy, okay? So I'm going to walk away from my computer and my phone and social media, and I'm going to say, I'm going to take time for myself to just enjoy, okay? All right. And so I guess another general thing here is this glow up is about, to summarize, this glow up of your soul pile number 3 is about learning to take time for yourself, learning to not see indulging a little bit more as a weakness, but as a strength, okay? And believing more in your hopes and your dreams, things that make your soul sing, okay? Things like that. Okay, so let's move on to the advice section of your reading pile number 3s. We'll reset the board here. Yeah, believing. It's just like, it's like there's something really deep down that you want, and you keep denying yourself that thing that you want. It is kind of what I'm feeling. And you deny it because you don't think that you're good enough for it, or it's like you don't believe that it's like productive enough. I don't know. Yeah, I almost feel like I get workaholic vibes off this reading, pile number 3s. So part of the glow up is moving from that workaholic mindset to something a little bit more relaxed. Just for your own mental health, and also growing your soul in ways that grinding your bones to the dust for a career or job will not grow you, okay? Yeah, so let's put these over here. I'm gonna do one more shuffle with the tarot deck, actually. So, Spirit, for my lovely pile number 3s, could you give me about 5 cards of advice for them on this major soul glow up, okay? How do they relax more? How do they indulge in their passions more? How do they listen to intuitively deep down what they want more? What would your advice be? I mean, of course, the obvious is listen to yourself more, pile number 3s, but more concrete advice is always welcome, of course. So 2, definitely that one, 3, 4, and feeling that one right there, 5. Okay. We need to be easier on ourselves, pile number 3s. Okay, so first up we have 2 cards from the Pastoral Tarot. The first one is the Fool. Being willing to embark on a new journey, okay? We have our satchel, we have our dog, and we're walking along, exploring new things, okay? So actually this could be a career shift for you, pile number 3s, because it's like a new journey, right? Maybe even moving to a new place, whatever makes your soul sing. Okay, we have the King of Pentacles, external mastery of the material world. Very great card to get in terms of business or career. Okay, so if you have been considering a career shift, pile number 3s, you're getting a pretty good flashing neon sign of go for it, because you have not only the card of start out something new, you have the card of success in business, okay? Those 2 together. Okay, your surrender card. Surrender stress. Remember what I was telling you about self-care and being willing to invest more time in things outside of work? Okay. This is what it says on the tin. Take a few deep breaths and exhale the tension you've built up in your body. Let the stress go as you come back to your center. That's what it is, pile number 3s. It's like you've lost your center, and I think that's why they were focusing so much on hobbies, and listening to yourself more. I think, I don't know if even you've been getting a little numb. Just putting yourself on the back burner so much that you've kind of lost touch with yourself, okay? Surrender stress. Okay, focus on reducing your mental stress. AKA hobbies are great for that, like I was saying before, okay? Hobbies. Great stress relief. I like to watch Bob Ross paint. That is always very calming. I think they have live streams every weekend on YouTube for Bob Ross. So if you're interested in that, go for that. All right, card number 1, we have the Knight of Swords reversed. Knights are taking action reversed. It's asking you to take more action in terms of your thoughts in your mind, okay? Take more action in terms of that question you asked yourself earlier that I asked you to answer honestly, okay? Take more action in what your mind is telling you. Okay. We have the Sun. Follow what makes you happy. Receiving clarity. Sometimes it can mean clarity too, because the sun, dissipates clouds, right? At least symbolically it does. But yeah, happiness, joy. What makes us happy? What makes us shine? Okay, even in this card too, you have a sun right behind her. Feeling the glow. Okay, I don't know if maybe you need to get out in nature more too, pile number 3s. Getting more sunlight, I don't know, getting more vitamin D perhaps, that might help. More sun exposure, more fresh air. Nature is just very good for the soul. Best free therapy you can ever receive is going out in nature. We have the 9 of Cups. Okay. Interesting, the 9 of Cups. Traditionally, it's depicted as someone very smug, very happy, emotionally happy with what they have. Okay. Also sometimes known as the wish card. What do you wish for? What makes you shine? What do you wish for? Pile number 3s. Okay. Then we have the 2 of Cups reversed. Can mean disharmony in relationships. Okay. I believe this is from is this the Epic of Gilgamesh? I think it is. Yes, from Sumeria, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but. All right. And then we have the 3 of Coins. Teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, as we always say, right? Okay, so pile number 3s in terms of advice in this area. If you're considering doing a new move, going on a new adventure, go for it, okay? Whatever that be, career, new home, etc. Okay? Maybe that's one of the reasons you've been denying yourself this wish, is because you think, well, it's such a drastic change. It's such a new adventure. It's so different than what I've been doing before. Go for it anyways, okay? That's one piece of advice on this glow up, okay? And if material success is a worry, you have the King of Pentacles right here, okay? Someone literally enjoying sipping wine by a vineyard, right? Having a great, fantastic time. Very verdant, happy field behind him of grapes, right? Literally, he's mastered the material world, and he's enjoying the fruits of his labor from it, okay? So, then we have surrender stress, okay? Take more time for yourself, pile number 3s, okay? Take more time to de-stress, okay? Self-care, indulge in your hobbies more, indulge in your wishes and dreams more, okay? You don't have to be a machine that grinds yourself to dust, okay? And the tarot cards are kind of like what I already said as I pulled them out. We do have the facets of follow what makes you happy, what makes you shine here with the sun. And then the 9 of Cups is like the wish fulfillment card. Wish granted, right? What is your dream life, pile number 3s, and focus on that. And how can you, in your current life, even in just the most minor of ways, align more with what your dream life would look like? Maybe it's having a really beautiful backyard with a garden, okay? And so think about steps to take to get to that beautiful garden. Maybe it's traveling more, saving up money for that wherever you can. Maybe it's getting, a degree in something, okay? What does your dream look like, pile number 3s, all right? Maybe it's getting a house in a certain place. Maybe it's moving, like I said, okay? Focus on your dreams. What's your wish granted? What makes you shine? Where do you grow the most, too, especially with the sun here? And I guess I mean grow not in terms of self-growth. I mean grow in terms of what makes you rise to the not the occasion, but like how like plants can't grow without sunlight, right? Okay, what's the sunlight that would feed your growth, I guess, in terms of your happiness? It's a better way to put that with that plant metaphor, right? Okay. And then we also have, this is fascinating here, the Two of Cups reversed over here alongside the Three of Pentacles, okay? This is about disharmony in relationships, and the Three of Coins is about teamwork. I think another aspect of this is if you're currently in a romantic relationship, pile number threes, think also about what dreams you might share with the person you're with, okay? Maybe if, you're not currently in maybe you're in a long-term relationship, but maybe you're both, or maybe personally you're kind of thinking about, well, maybe I would like to get married, okay? Maybe bring that up to your partner, okay? Or I guess in the best way you can. I mean, you don't want to say, hey, marry me or else, because, it's their choice too. But, maybe if your dream is to be married, maybe kind of bring that up a little bit, or maybe, both of you want to move to a certain place together. Okay, what would be both your dream place? Work in tandem and harmony with your relationships in terms of these dreams as well. And also, we were talking about earlier about how I think you don't take enough time for yourself away from maybe like your work. Taking more time for yourself could also open up more time to spending time with those you have relationships with, be it romantic or familial or platonic with your friends, right? Okay. Nurturing those relationships more, moving a little bit away from the grind mindset to more the relationship mindset of like, okay, I'm gonna nurture more of this part of my life now. I'm gonna nurture my relationships, bring more harmony to them with that Two of Cups reversed, okay? And then the Three of Pentacles is about teamwork, okay? Working on dreams together with other people, working on shared dreams, okay? Maybe look into, if it's not a romantic partner you share a dream with, look into maybe a dream you might share with a family member or with a friend, okay? Maybe even with a community. Something like that. Something that has to do with working with other people with the Three of Pentacles, okay? And also, too, this can mean by taking more time for yourself to recuperate your energy, to make your soul sing with your hobbies, like, for example. You can also, you can also have the energy to be a more invested or a better partner to the people you're either in a relationship with, or a better family member to your family, or a better friend to your friends, but because you'll have more time to actually invest in them, okay? Some aspect of teamwork there, right? Either working in tandem with them on your dreams, okay? Or spending more time with them, okay? Both, maybe. And then, yes, Knight of Swords reversed is taking action in terms of thought, okay? These thoughts you've been having, these dreams you've been having, pile number three, is take action. Turn that reversed Knight of Swords into an upright, okay? Follow your dreams. If I were to summarize your entire reading, follow your dreams, right? Also, take care of yourself more. That's another summary of your reading here, okay? And this will bring you to that glow up, because I think for your soul, it's important to learn the lesson of enjoying the fruits of your labor. It's important to believe in dreams and being willing to reach out for them. And not just to see yourself in terms of what can I provide, but in terms of, or what can I make, or what can I create in terms of like money, and be more about how can I feel alive, okay? How can I feel like an individual again, okay? How do I not just feel like a cog in the machine, and I feel like me, who I am deep down inside, okay? Things like that. I'm trying to see if there's any other advice for you here before I sign off with you, pile number threes. Yeah, take more time for yourself, okay? Focus on ways to de-stress more, okay? Because I think right now maybe there's a little bit too much stress in your life, hence that's why you got the surrender stress card, okay? Yep, and just remember the answer that you had to that question earlier, okay? When I said, think to yourself, what would your first inclination or answer be? Follow that question, and that will help guide you through this soul glow up, okay? And just see where it takes you. Be willing to embark on a new journey, all right? So pile number three is, as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. It's never a mistake to invest in your self-happiness, okay? And I hope to see you in the next reading, all right? Bye.